Hey, what's going on, my friends? It's Dave Sharpe. Welcome to Wake Up Legendary. And you guessed it, we did it again. We have yet another amazing guest on the show this morning. How does it happen? Only you can answer that. Only you guys can answer that question because you're so amazing. This community is blazing. Oh, man, there I go. Might make a song by the end of the session. We're on fire here. It is Halloween. I am dressed up like a homeless man because I just picked my shirt up off the floor and threw a hat on, which is how I've always lived. And that's exactly how I like to be. Just the numbers in the bank account change over time, my friends. Money only makes you more of who you already are. That doesn't mean I enjoy being homeless. It just means I enjoy being comfortable. And I believe that is one of the benefits of this business. And so, my friends, the other benefit of this business and learning these skills is being able to spend time with your family and your kids. So tonight I'm going to be having lots of fun driving around the neighborhood on my golf cart with my kids. My son decided he wanted to be a dinosaur at the last minute. So we've got 4 costumes on the way from Amazon right now. And the pressure's on for him to get them here by the time we go out tonight. Blippi and Fireman got the boot. Okay. So, thankfully we had the extra cash and the flexibility to be able to order these extra costumes, my friends. Sometimes it's the little things that count. With that being said, Julianna is also a mom, and I would assume is doing this to be able to spend more time with her children as well. I'm excited to be able to hear her story. Julianna, welcome to the show.
Hi, Dave. How's it going?
It's going fantastic. What are you going to be for Halloween today?
We are dressing up as the Incredibles. So there's 3 kids, mom and dad, Mr. and Mrs. Incredible, of course.
Yeah.
Yep, gonna rock out the neighborhood.
Got to do it.
Yeah, absolutely.
So
got to match with them while they're little enough to want to do that.
Yeah, exactly. And while you've got your little sidekicks there that you can you can enhance your outfit as well. It's always nice to be able to enhance your outfit.
Yeah.
With the little ones. So what ages are your children?
So I have 3 kids. I have a stepdaughter, she's 7. And then I have 2 babies. My son is 19 months, so just a little bit over a year and a half. And my daughter, she's almost 5 months old.
Ooh, 2 in diapers.
Yes, it's a lot, but it's super fun.
Yeah, of course it is. Well, it goes by fast, as they say. I'm starting to sound like an old man around my house. I actually said yesterday, because there was something tragic that happened in Ybor City the other night, and I said I caught myself saying nothing good happens after midnight. So, anyways, we grow up, we get old, and we that's just how life is. And so I feel like I am a veteran in this game, but you are rather new. But yes. I don't think you're new to online marketing and trying different things. So tell us a little bit about how you got here. What were you looking for? Do you feel like you finally found what you're looking for after doing various different ventures? I know you also, I believe, were in the restaurant industry. So tell us how you found and got to Legendary.
Yeah, so I worked in the restaurant industry for a long time. I got my first restaurant job when I was 14 years old. And I just did that for the longest time. And then I moved from the Midwest down here to Florida. And, it's really seasonal down here, as you probably know. And it's just really hard in the summer months. And I already had the thought of trying to do something on the side. But then I met my husband, and he's got a real entrepreneur mindset too. And he kind of put me on, look at these things that you can do online, this and that. So I tried a print on demand store with Shopify, and that didn't really work out. And then I always wanted to look into affiliate marketing, and I had a really good idea about what it was. But I just wasn't really getting how to actually do it or how to really monetize it. And then a few months back, we had just had our daughter. And it was actually when I got pregnant with my son, I really had the thought of like, I do not want to be like working in this restaurant game forever, because me and my husband were working opposite shifts so that we didn't have to pay for childcare. It's just, that's for the birds. So when I was pregnant with my son, I'm like, I really got to figure this out. I got to try and make this work. And that's when I did try the print on demand store, and that just wasn't it for me. Fast forward to this last June, I just had my daughter, and I was really like, I need to figure this out. Like, we need to make something happen. And then something popped into my feed, a mom on social media talking about, you know, she's making all this money from home. She's able to do it as a stay-at-home mom. I'm like, that's perfect. And she had taken the legendary course. So I'm like, why not? Like, why can't I do that? She can go and do that. She's a stay-at-home mom. I'm a stay-at-home mom. She has 3 kids. I have 3 kids. If she has time to do it, I have time to do that. So I was just like, immediately when I saw the opportunity with legendary, I'm like, this is it. There's no plan B. Like, this is going to work for me. I'm going to make it happen. So I just like really dove into it, and I've been giving it my all ever since I started. And to be honest, like, as much as it was, I need to find an opportunity to bring in money, creating content is so fun for me. And I actually feel like I've found my calling while trying to find a way to stay at home with the kids and have more time with the family. So that's really awesome too.
Wow. That is really awesome. And so I like, what stands out to me is I like that, you know, you are seeing other people out there and identifying, seeing the similarities, not the differences. We had a real powerful session yesterday talking about just the power of, you know, seeing the similarities in people, and not automatically looking at people and you know, picking out how you may be unique and how it's not going to work for you, but it'll work for them. You saw other moms out on the internet. And by the way, there's tons of stay-at-home moms out on the internet doing various forms of internet marketing, folks. It's not just here in Legendary, although we do have a lot. I mean, there's 8 billion people on this planet. We have, you know, we have a nice number of stay-at-home moms and probably dads and grandmas and grandpas and people without kids. I mean, there's a nice variety inside of our community, but you know, there really is stay-at-home moms and people of all variety out there who are working on the internet doing various forms of digital marketing. And whenever we see somebody doing something, the question that we need to ask ourselves, if we can step back and observe ourselves, is, do I look at that and automatically start to disqualify myself and say, that must be nice for that person to be able to do that, as if they're some sort of superhuman or separate species? Or do you look at somebody and say, if they can do it, I can do it, and I'm going to give it a try? And you had mentioned the word grit a couple of times in your questionnaire that we sent you when we invited you onto the show. How has that helped you here, and what does that mean to you in terms of becoming an entrepreneur, you know, really relying on yourself to push yourself? We've all got the same formula, blueprint, Wi-Fi access. Nobody's got a better computer than anybody else. I mean, in terms of access to computers, right? It's not like you have access to supercomputers and I have access only to dial up and a 1968 Apple or something. You know, we've all got iMacs and iPhones and Wi-Fi and 5G and all this kind of stuff. So how are you being gritty and how does that play into you also looking at that stay-at-home mom and saying, if she can do it, I can do it. I'm going to try.
Yeah. So if I didn't have that sense of grit, I would have given up a long time ago. And it's just because life still happens. Even when you're trying to build a business or start something new, life around you is still happening. And when I started this, we were in a really, really bad financial situation. Which, side note, don't wait until your financial situation's an emergency to start trying to change your life, because that just makes it harder. Yeah, you need to take action when you're realizing like what you're doing isn't sustainable, because when I started this, like most of my credit cards are almost maxed out. We're buying groceries on credit cards. We're late on bills, deciding like, am I going to get gas with the next paycheck or what's going on? So a couple weeks after I started, I got a knee injury, and then my phone broke. I lost a bunch of my batch content. That sucked. That could have been a reason to be like, yeah, I can't do this. My kids get sick all the time. That's what happens with kids. That could have been a reason to be like, yeah, I don't have time for this. I need to not do that. Or, there was a period during this process of me starting this, we were 16 days late on our rent and we almost got evicted. And that could have been a reason of like, I don't have time for this. But in my mind, like that's a reason to be like, I need to keep doing this. I need to keep going. I need to give it my all. I need to pour all of my energy into this so that like this shit doesn't happen again. Like I don't like being late on my bills. I don't like not knowing where bill money is going to come from. And I also don't like telling my kids no because of a lack of funds, and there's certain situations that have happened since I started this that maybe could have been avoided had we had the time for my husband to be home more. But, when he's working 90-hour work weeks to support our family, that's not possible. So it's like, you can look at a tough situation and be like, man, like this sucks. This is too hard. Like, I don't like doing this, this is difficult, but like, how difficult is it compared to staying in the same crappy situation that you've been in for so long? Yeah. And I think that it just, if I didn't have that sense of like, I know this is going to work for me and I don't have a backup plan, and like, that's my reason why this needs to work. If I didn't go into it with that mindset, and if I didn't maintain that mindset, I would have given up. And then it's like, what's going to come around? Like, who's going to come and save me? Who's going to come and save us? That's not how the world works. You have to wake up every day and just tell yourself like, yeah, shit's going to get hard. Anything could happen at any moment. You need to keep moving forward, because the worst that's going to happen is if nothing happens. But if that happens, it's because you gave up.
Yeah. And you know what? If you're living in the United States or Canada or any other first world country, my friends, the only thing that you have to do if you really want to get a different perspective is go visit Israel, go visit the Gaza Strip, go visit Ukraine, go visit Russia, go visit Cuba. I've got a friend that is from Cuba, and they're shutting off the power for 8 to 12 hours a day down there on people. People can't keep their food good. It's also about, and this was what our guest yesterday shared as well, that stuck with me, is if I'm not grateful for what I have, then I'm not going to be given more. That's just how the universe works. I want to address and then talk about your niche and how you decided to do what you're doing. There was a comment here by someone who said, "Can I see other stay-at-home moms that don't only, all caps, have links to your course, like other niches besides Make Money Online? Please, ... Well, thank you for your comment, and certainly your caps and all that let us know how passionate you are about your question. It's difficult for us as a company to track people who are having success in different niches. It's not, we can track people who are promoting our products and our courses because we have all the data, right, inside of our company and our admin system to be able to see who's actually having success. So it's not as easy to track people who are promoting other products, just FYI, in terms of inviting successful guests onto the show. The other thing that you need to remember, Amanda, is that, if somebody starts to have success in a certain niche that's outside of Make Money Online, that's outside of promoting legendary marketer courses and products, they may be a little more hesitant to kind of come on and lay out their full business plan here in front of everybody, because people can start to copy things. One other thing to remember for those of you who are looking for examples in different niches is that a lot of people who come through Legendary Marketer are brand new. And so they had a good experience with Legendary Marketer. We never ask anybody to promote any of our products or courses. We don't even mention our affiliate program in our course whatsoever. This is also a little bit of a short-sighted question, in the sense that you may also be not realizing that people are promoting a lot of different products on the back end through their email follow-up series and down the road. just because somebody may be promoting Legendary Marketer because they had a good experience doesn't mean they're not promoting other products on the back end. The one other thing to note is that because a lot of people are brand spanking new inside of our community, they do start off promoting and talking about something that they're passionate about, which many of our students are passionate about making money and being financially free because they're trying to be financially free themselves. And you tend to talk about what you're passionate about. And so they may start in one niche and then transition to another. So just helping everybody see the bigger picture of what's happening here. This is not just everybody promoting our courses. This is people who are promoting our courses as likely one stream of income inside of their business. And just make sure that you don't shoot yourself in the foot by thinking that that's all that is happening here. With that being said, how did you come to decide that you wanted to be in the online business digital marketing niche? Was it something related to what I just said in terms of your passion about this right now? You had a good experience with Legendary. You wanted to share it. A lot of people come into our community and say, I'm having a hard time picking a niche. And, you may have hard time making decision in other areas of your life too. We don't know really who you are. We just see your question that you post on Facebook. And so how did you make a decision about picking your niche? And do you have the mindset that you're not particularly married to this, but it's better to get started than things to be perfect?
Right. So you pretty much hit the nail on the head. I am really passionate about telling moms and just parents in general, like you can change your financial situation, especially because I did spend so long doing personal research on affiliate marketing. Like probably 2 solid years I spent going back and forth. How do I do this? How can I create these systems? And you summarize it in 15 days for me. So that was really like, you can come and learn this, and then you can apply it to so many areas. So I'm going to start, I've started in the Make Money Online niche. I do also promote several other companies within the Make Money Online niche. But I will eventually transition into other areas too. Like the parenting niche, maybe create, content around childcare or, cooking for toddlers, things like that. It's a really good stepping stone for me right now, though, to be in the Make Money Online niche, because right now that is what I am passionate about. Is I found the thing that's going to change my life, and I can show that to other people too.
Yeah, it's easy for you to talk about, and it's easy for you to serve the customer that you were just 4 to 6 to 12 months ago.
Exactly.
Right?
Yeah.
And that's one of the things that should be a great starting place for your brain, no matter what niche you're going into, my friends, is that it's so powerful, and you have an advantage if you have experience struggling with the problem that you now have an answer to. And you get to talk to the person that you used to be. That is your target customer. That
exactly
is who you're going to have the most success marketing to, is the person that you used to be, because you're able to talk to that person intimately and know what their problems are, know what their struggles are. And so as you were going through our education and then getting started, what were some of the limiting beliefs that came up for you, Julian? I mean, obviously you're young, you're a mom, you've tried other things, you were in the restaurant industry. I mean, I obviously don't know what your childhood was like, and we don't need to go into every detail, but tell us, what were some of the things that popped up, and what are some of the things that you're still overcoming, and how are you using things like grit and new, more positive, empowering self-talk to overcome those limiting beliefs?
So definitely coming into the online space, and when you're brand new and you're unsure of what to do when it comes to creating content and stuff, it's easy to get overwhelmed and maybe have a touch of imposter syndrome. Like, oh, XYZ people are doing this better than I am. How could I make myself stand out? Like, why would somebody come and visit my page instead of somebody who's already established? But at the end of the day, I've had to talk myself through this so many times, is like, you need to make content that is showing exactly who you are, and that's what's going to set you apart. So when I'm making videos, I'm thinking of different versions of myself that I'm talking to, whether it's the version of hating going to my 9 to 5, hating leaving my kids, or hating watching my husband be gone all day and not spending time with the kids. And speaking to myself, and somebody's going to visit your page and decide to follow you because they like you. So just kind of overcoming that comparison, because it's really, it gets so easy to compare yourself to others, but there's not a replica of you. And I have to remind myself of that still all the time. So that's probably the biggest thing that I've had to overcome, is like, why would somebody come and look at my page?
Yeah. And somebody just asked this question, how somebody said, my question would be, do we start making content before we make money? And how do we stay authentic promoting make money online and selling make money online courses, or the course? I don't know if you're talking about our course or what, if we hadn't made anything yet. And you're going to run into this challenge in any damn niche that you go into. You're going to be new. And the biggest thing that I think, if you take a step back and look at the bigger picture here, what most of us need to learn how to do is embrace being new and not be the meek, timid, oh, I'm new here, this is my first thing. And you probably have a tendency, if you're acting like that here, to act like that anywhere, right? If you're honest with yourself, and I get paid the big bucks to speak the truth. So if something that I said to anybody on the show today is offensive, well, be offended, but then think about it and see if the shoe fits. And if it does, take that feedback in and realize that this is another thing we talked about yesterday. And I know we're going to have another great week of shows, because today's already off to a great start. Yesterday was a kick-ass show. But embracing being new at something, having confidence, even though it's your first time on the stage. I gave the story yesterday about my friend who's just starting as a bodybuilder in his 50s. And he's done lots of different things over in his life: triathlon, Ironman, this business, that business, all kinds of different things. And at each time, he went from being successful at what he was recently doing to going back down to being new. And there's an excitement, there's a butterfly in your belly, there's a nervousness, there's an anxiousness, there's an excitement when you're new, that if you embrace that and channel those emotions into confidence and energy, that you can be confident and you can be valuable and you won't get lost inside of your head. Versus if I'm starting something new and I think, well, I'm new, I don't really deserve to be here. I don't know that I've seen this in recovery for 15 years, that somebody just gets clean and doesn't ever want to say anything in a 12-step meeting. And I'll tell you what, I've learned just as much or more from the junkie coming in off the streets than I am from the guy who's got 20 years, because that person might remind me that it ain't gotten any better out there.
Mm-hmm. I'm so glad you brought that up, because that's so true. That's so true. I'm in recovery too, Dave. I'm 4 years clean in January, and you do have to embrace being new. And when you hit a certain point where it's like, I have no idea what I'm doing, I need to find a way to build this up. That's the case with any new addict who's fresh into recovery, day one, right? That's the case with somebody who wants to become a bodybuilder. I want to exercise. I want to make my body my temple. I want to become strong. They didn't start as a bodybuilder, and nobody started with 4 years clean, and nobody started making perfect content every single day. And even the people who you see, who you think make perfect content every single day, probably still sit and think like, how can I make myself better today? And they're not perfect either. They're still human beings. So and every time you're starting something new, you just have to remind yourself, like, I'm stepping into a new territory of how I can make myself be better. You're leveling yourself up. And every time you have the confidence to do something, even though you think you're going to suck at it, like, the self-confidence that comes from that is unmatched to anything. And it just grows over time.
Yeah. And I think your handle is a great example of that. The digital powerhouse. Now, certainly you created that handle with 0 followers, because you have to create a handle when you get started, and you've got how many followers?
0.
The big goose egg. And so picking a handle, it's like, you could have very easily said newbie Julianna, or, which is ridiculous, and you would never do that. But you get the point. It's like you're speaking into existence what you want, I can remember launching a campaign back in 2011, and I shot a bunch of videos for my funnel and my website as if I already had, 15,000 people going through it and listening to my videos. And that's how I create every video and every piece of content that I ever create now today. As if even if it's a brand new campaign or something that I'm brand new, I create the video and I speak as if I'm already 3 years into it, mega successful, multi-million-dollar producer, whatever it is, got tens of thousands of people listening to my content. Because that's when people fall on my content, I don't want them to get there and go, is anybody else here or am I the only one? I want them to feel like, because that's the power of the internet. That's the power of the internet, is that somebody who pulls up on your video on your TikTok page does not know, or sees your video in your timeline does not know. This is the thing that I wish everybody and hope everybody can realize this morning. Does not know that you're on day 3 of does not know that you've made no money, does not know until you tell them, usually not with your words, but with your vibrations, your energy.
Yes.
Now,
exactly.
Come right out and say, yeah, I'm new here, and I probably don't deserve you to be, listening to me. And why would you do that?
No,
Right?
walk in there and own the place. If you're worried about creating content when you're new, like obviously, like don't talk about money you haven't made if you're new. But even when you have made money, I don't necessarily think the best go-to is to just like talk about all the money you've made, because then you're not really like speaking to people's pain points at that point either.
Right.
Like when I'm making content, I'm trying to be using 3 E's: educational, empathetic, or entertaining. And it's like, am I touching somebody's pain points in my videos? And is this funny? Like, is this funny and relevant to my niche? And is it educational to what it is that I'm talking about? And those are like really evergreen content styles that you should be using, even if you're making $1 million from affiliate marketing. So if you're worried about what to make, just think like, what's your niche, right? If your niche is health and wellness, your niche is fitness, right? And you have not worked out a single day in your life, but you want to be in the health and wellness niche, that's fine. Take a video of yourself doing your first exercise and be like, follow me on my journey to see me get super shredded a year from now and see like the exercises that I do to get there. Hear me talk about the mindset mantras that I tell myself every day to keep myself motivated to keep exercising. It's not about how much money you made. It's about what you're doing to change your life. And yeah, of course, like money comes with that. And you're starting to go into an online venture to make money. But if all you end up talking about is the money that you made, you're going to get lost with people who need to make that money because they're not relating to that anyway. You want to relate to people who need to do that. And you can't do that. They'll be like, oh, I made, however much, whatever. And I'm not saying that's bad to do here and there, to be like, this is what is possible. But you should be trying to tell them, like, this is why this is a great opportunity. And this is why I'm doing it. And this is what it is. This is what it embodies. So I think it's really easy to overthink content, but just picture yourself talking to the version of yourself that felt so desperate and like needing to change their life. And just talk to that person. I think about that every single time I make a video. And if I make a video and I watch it and I'm like, is this serving the version of me who was struggling and desperate and like really having a hard time? Because if it's not, I'm not going to post it.
Totally. A great example of that is DJ Khaled. Now,
yes.
I want you to think about this for a second. This guy is morbidly obese. He just is. It's just a fact. Just look at him. But he has got one of the biggest contracts and is one of the biggest brand ambassadors for the GOAT of all time, Michael effing Jordan, folks. The most athletic man in the history of men. Now, fight me on that. Argue on me about that. I'm an MJ fan. I might have some LeBron fans up in the house. I might this, that, Michael Johnson, whoever you want to. Jordan? What is the GOAT? And I grew up watching him. Okay. Everybody, including myself, wanted to be Michael Jordan in the 90s. He's the most athletic man in history. DJ Khaled is morbidly obese. Okay. And I love DJ Khaled. I really do. But why does DJ Khaled get paid millions of dollars and be able to put his name on Jordans and have a store in Miami with Jordans? Because of his confidence and his charisma. It's because of his ability to be able to market himself. It's his ability to be able to build a social media following through what you said, education, entertainment, empathy. And there's lots of examples out there about that. The person doesn't particularly need to be ultra whatever it is that they're selling. In this case, he's selling basketball shoes. The man probably can't even jump 6 inches off the ground. I mean, I love the guy. I'm just saying what it is.
Facts are facts.
Facts are facts, baby. Your eyes don't lie. So success leaves clues. This guy's a billionaire. DJ Khaled is recently reported to be a billionaire.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
And he got, where he got his entire, where his brand blew up? He was a great producer and definitely made some fire anthems back in the day for Lil Wayne and Drake and a few of the, I mean, he's a great person he's a great marketer. That's really what he is. But what really took him to the next level was starting to build a TikTok following back about 5 years ago. And he just every day would get on there with crazy nonsense, shirtless videos, man titties just hanging out, just belly just doing its thing, just chilling, but swagged out, right? Just swagged out. And just
super confident, so confident.
So confident. The guy has just got the most confidence of anybody in the world, right? He's just super swag confidence dude. And he's now a freaking billionaire, or at least is reported to be. And so that has got to, and examples like that, including your own experience, Julianna, has got to really drive home the fact that if they can do it, you can do it. And as you have started to create content and build an audience and start to get results, are you surprised? I hesitate to use this word, but I'm going to use it because I feel like it's time, at how easy it can really be to get this off the ground, and how with just a few low to no cost tools, namely a autoresponder and a funnel builder, a little bit of confidence and a little bit of a blueprint about what you're doing, which you touched on in the beginning of this episode, you can be up and rolling and running with a business. Have you been surprised, especially with your past ventures that were not so successful, at how quickly you have picked up steam?
Yeah, so definitely when it came to setting up back office things like the funnel and everything, that's technically the hardest part that for this whole process was getting it all together. And I ended up having to start a new page entirely and making a new funnel because of a typo in my domain integration, and then my link got banned on Meta. So get the blueprints if you can, guys. I'm just saying. But it was really it was worked up in my head of oh my gosh, this is going to be such a mission. I have to do this, I have to do that. But really, for me personally, I like to just get things done right now. So when I put my head down and got to it, I got my funnel and all my back office things put together within a week. And then my freebie and everything else. And then now it's just yeah, there's upkeep here and there, and it was a pain to make the new funnel and everything. But aside from that stuff, I'm making videos. The hardest part is maintaining confidence, is mindset work. And the discipline, because it's, like I said before, life still happens regardless of what you're trying to do. But the biggest thing is just when you're having a hard day, it's hard sometimes to want to show up and do things, but it's still a lot easier than like going to a 9 to 5. It's way easier than going to a 9 to 5. When I was working at my 9 to 5, I was working like 5 to 6 days a week. And I would leave. It was really early in the morning restaurant place. So I would leave at my house like 6 o'clock in the morning and not be home until 4:30. And then it's like, man, I have this small window of time to cook dinner for my family, clean my house, get groceries, take care of my dog. There's not time to do all that in the day. So when it comes down to it, there's days where I'm like, man, this is a hard day. And I had to check myself and be like, how hard is it, sis? Like, how hard is it? It's okay. You're not working your 9 to 5. Like, it's not as hard as that was. So I do think there's an aspect of like building things up in your head versus when it comes to actually doing it, which just drives the point home. Like, if you just start doing it, time's going to pass anyway. You know, there's still going to be the same amount of time in a day. If you use it efficiently and you use it to get your things up and going, just start. Before you know it, you're going to be done. You're going to be done. And then all you're going to be doing is the upkeep.
Yeah. So well put, so well said, especially about the part of working hard and nearly overworking ourselves to death to avoid a little bit of emotional pain. We will continue to go work at a job that is physically hard, like what you just said, waitressing, to avoid the emotional uncomfortability of building confidence and pushing through uncomfortable situations. And that to me is insanity. That is a phenomenon about human beings. I cannot explain why we do that. But we will stay in a shitty ass, hard, nasty, low paying, toxic ass job for years to avoid a little bit of emotional discomfort. And that's all it is, because friends, you sitting in your house shooting, videos on your phone is the physically easiest thing you will ever do in your life. Physically the easiest. You don't even have to get dressed barely. You don't even have to take a shower.
You can just record yourself doing day-to-day stuff.
Right.
And that's it.
In many cases, if you look at a lot of marketers' content that's hitting and working really well right now, you don't even have to talk. But we will get up early, rush and run out the house without breakfast, sit in traffic, walk in and be late and be reprimanded, work 8 to 9 hours in a building that we would do anything not to be there. Doing work, we would do anything almost anything not to be doing. Being treated and talked down, waitressing. I've never been a waiter, but it's one of the most thankless jobs in the world, and also one of the most hardest jobs because you're on your feet all day. You're carrying. Mm-hmm. Give me a break. It's unbelievable.
Yeah, it's a lot. I think if there's people who don't have respect for the restaurant industry, it's maybe because they haven't worked in the restaurant industry. But you learn a lot of valuable skills. You learn sales, you learn communications, you learn how to be personable with people. Honestly, you can take a restaurant history and probably qualify for more jobs than you think with that on your resume.
Some of the best.
But you're right though. People would go to work and do anything to get out of it, and you need to remember that when you get home and the day is over and you're like, I want to sit down and watch a movie or whatever you want to do. It's like, all right, how about you think back to when you were at work earlier and the fact that you would do anything to not be at work and start doing that thing, because that thing is this. You just have to get uncomfortable a little bit. And it's like you say, like making videos is easy. The mindset work is hard sometimes, but that mindset work transfers over to other areas of your life. And I can tell you, since I've been really working on my mindset, I've been a better mom, I've been a better wife, I've been a better friend. It's transferable everywhere. And people would, it's the quote, people would rather stay in an unfamiliar hell than stay in a familiar hell than move to an unfamiliar heaven. And that's, you gotta, you got to just want more for yourself. And I think a lot of people do want more for themselves, but it doesn't take as much as you're thinking. It gets so built up in your head about all these things you have to do. But if you just check one thing off your list every day, or even half a thing off your list every day, you're moving one step closer to your destination. And I think that's a lot more than people give that credit for. And people see wins as like, oh, how much money I'm making. But no, every follower you get is a win. Every lead that you get is a win. Every video that you post is a win. So it's just also about like celebrating the small things along the way, because it's easy to get discouraged in the beginning when you're like, okay, I did do the thing, I did do the work, and I'm not seeing immediate results, but you're seeing more results than you think you are. And then before you know it, you're just like, it's like a ladder effect. You're moving closer and closer to that thing that you want, but you have to show up, and you just have to do it, man. You just have to get up and do it.
Yeah. Very well said. Mark said, I purchased this course 3 months ago and haven't made it past the 3rd day of training. I keep waiting for the right time for me to start and do the work. I'm just now realizing that this stuff is just like having kids. The time will never be right. You just need to make the mental commitment and do it now. I'm recommitting to finishing this course this week before Friday. Good for you, Mark. And well
That's
said.
awesome.
Well said, right? There is no perfect time. And being a mother yourself, Julianna, you have to get in where you fed in, right? I mean, I'm sure that there's been a million times where you've been ready to record and your kid busts in, starts crying, poops his pants, whatever it is. And it's like, damn it. I mean, I can remember last night, I had just finished dinner and my son needed to go poop, right? And it's like, so I went and did that. And then I came back, sat down, was like, I'm going to sit down, watch a little of the sunset. He says, I need to go poop again. I said, here we go. Just got up. Hey, I'm not going to complain or shame the man. He's got to poop. He's 2, right? It's his body. He can't help it. We just went and did it. We came back. But there's no perfect time. And what is being a mother in doing this? Where do you see the similarities, just as Mark said, in terms of no perfect timing? And how are you managing your time to get your marketing in throughout your schedule during your day?
So whenever I have a window of time, right? Like my kids, like I said, my daughter's 5 months old and my son, he's 1.5 years. So right now they're kind of aligned to where over the lunch hour, they're both sleeping for like an hour or 2. And I really try to maximize that time to like get things done, record content. I also, now that I've kind of gotten to my own rhythm, I will plan out. I have my whole week like planned out most of the time, and I'll pick a few days, like 2 or 3 days, where I'm going to put aside like an hour or 2, and I'm going to make a bunch of content all at the same time. And I'll change my shirt, tie up my hair, do whatever to change the way that I look so that I can make a bunch of videos on 1 or 2 days and then have content for like a week or 2. And I think that's a great way for people who are super busy, like whether it be a 9 to 5 or you're a parent. That's a really great way to maximize that time to save yourself the time in the future so that you don't have to worry about it. Like I always try to have a couple days worth of videos saved in my phone just in case something happens. And it's just about like, at the end of the day, when the kids go to bed, that's when I'll try to do, technical things. Like if I want to put a new email on my email campaign, or I'll sit and try to write out some of my captions for my videos or edit some of my videos at the nighttime. It's just, honestly, my best advice to people who are super, super busy already and are having a hard time fitting everything in, get a planner and just write down, what is going to happen in your week. All right. I have to go to work on these days from this time, or I have to do these things on these days. And whenever there's free blocks, write it down and actually write it out, because then you're going to mentally commit yourself to it. And then you're going to make sure that it happens. And like, it might sound like a pain in the ass in the moment, but then you're going to be saving yourself down the line a bunch of time where you're just like trying to make things on the fly or get work done on the fly. And then it's going to feel stressful. If you plan it out and you just commit to those time frames, it saves you so much time in the long run.
Yeah, I love that. I agree. Getting things in the calendar. There's never been something in my calendar I didn't show up to, but there's been a million things that I didn't calendar that I didn't do. right?
Right.
So whether you're writing them down in a planner, whether you're using your Google or Apple Calendar, you know, these calendars nowadays, I mean, and I'm the guy who has a hard time syncing my damn computer with my phone, and you know, even getting things set up to work in the most basic way. Honestly, I'm not very tech savvy. A lot of you people think that I am. I'm not. Uh, but I got quite a few calendars going on in my phone. I mean, I really do. I mean, I've got things mapped out pretty well, and I share calendars with different people. You can see my days pretty. My days pretty. You know, I've got things going on here. You know, I mean, and it's just it's helpful. It's really helpful to be able to see them, to be able to look at them the day ahead of time and see what you have going on the next day. Um, it's just, you can color code things. Again, some of you may be old school and want to write it down. That can be just as powerful or more. If you struggle like me, you know, being tech savvy and working with some of these calendars or getting used to a new habit, fit what you need to do that you know is important into your already effective habit. Some of you have a hell of a time getting started with things, but you're great planners and organizers, and you organize yourself to basically analysis paralysis, because you're getting ready to get ready so much. Everything's got to be organized and perfect. Well, just do a little less organizing and a little more action. That means that you can plan your action, as you suggested, Julian, and that's just such a beautiful point. What have you learned about yourself in this process? You mentioned a moment ago that you're in recovery, 4 years sober. Congratulations. That's had to teach you so much about who you are and what you're made out of. What is this process? What is this journey? Remind us how long you've been at this and what your timeline is, and tell us, what have you learned about you during this process?
So I finished the challenge right at the end of July. So, because that's when I started posting. I posted like as soon as I was done with the challenge, end of July. I've learned about myself. I already kind of knew this, but I'm stubborn. I'm super stubborn, but that's a good thing because it's keeping me going. Um, I have a lot more tenacity than I thought I did. And that's, I'm learning things about myself that maybe I could work on, like not being patient with my process, or just the confidence that I talked about before. Um, but I've also learned that I can be really resilient in situations that suck, because like I said, like there's just been, since I started, enough personal situations that are not ideal, not easy. And each time I've had the thought, like, I just need to give up on this, it's like a split-second thing. And I'm like, no, like, F that. No, I started this for a reason. This is why I started this. And it's just made me realize, it's reinforced a lot of confidence in how, when I put my mind to something, like I just get after it. I got to get up and get after it. And I think a lot of that does stem from being in recovery, because, Dave, when you're in a situation as bad as like the trenches of addiction, it's really hard to find hope in a situation. And then when you're able to pull yourself out of something like that, you kind of feel like you can do that in any situation. So it just has reinforced, because, you get into this period of time in sobriety where you kind of forget that struggle, almost not forget, but it just kind of gets pushed back with the other things that are happening in your day-to-day life. So, the things that have happened since this started have just kind of reinforced that, like, I am a badass. Like, I do got this, I am confident. I can bounce back. And it's made me have a better relationship with myself.
Yeah, I think sobriety taught me that I could stick with something. I could follow through and do something and not quit on myself. And there's been various times throughout life where you fall down, and even in recovery, if you were to relapse or slip. But the biggest lesson, even in a relapse, would be to pick yourself back up and dust yourself off, and know that you can get back, on the train, and that you don't have to give up just because you had a bad day, bad week, bad month, bad year, etc. So although we have dealt with addiction and overcome that, at least just for today, you know, those of you who are listening have also survived. Now, maybe it's not drug addiction, but probably a host of other things that maybe I have not. You have likely survived various forms of trauma, various forms of letdown, disappointment, losing people. You know, and I mean, like this year was my first real taste of almost losing somebody, with my father being in the hospital for 77 days with open heart surgery complications. And I mean, talk about, you know, thankfully he's still around and made it through that. But some of you have lost people that are near and dear, and you're still here. And others have overcome and dealt with abusive relationships. In other words, you're survivors and you're still here. And it's really, this is no different than other things, as you said, that you've done and overcome in the past. What advice would you give yourself if you could go back to July, which was just a short period of time ago, but if you could talk to yourself and whisper in your ear and give yourself a piece of advice, knowing what you do now, just a few months later, what would you say?
The struggles are worth it. There's going to be hard days. There's going to be times where you are frustrated. It's worth it. It's totally worth it. Even if you make $0, it's worth it. The discipline that you develop from forcing yourself to show up to something every day, whether it be exercising, learning a new skill. For me, it's obviously like learning this new skill. It's totally worth it. And to just keep going. There's no good reason to stop. Just keep going. You know, get through whatever personal situation you got going on, whatever business situation you got going on that might be frustrating. Just keep going and get through it. Tomorrow is going to be better. You're going to get better at this. Your skills are going to get better, and it's going to be fun. And just try to enjoy it. You know, try to enjoy your process, even when it seems not very enjoyable in the moment. If you're having a difficult day, try to appreciate that too, so that, you know, you just wake up tomorrow with a good mindset and just let's get at it again. That's what I would tell myself. Beautiful. If you feel frustrated, you feel like you don't know what you're doing, it's because you don't. But in a couple weeks, you might.
Yeah, and you'll look back on that time, right, and say, it's hard to even remember when I didn't know what I was doing, right? I mean, think about, you know, your first day or week as a mother, opposed to probably how you do it in your sleep now.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
You know what I mean? Like when you bring a baby home from the hospital, it's like, oh my God, I'm going to break it, you know? And then, you know, within a couple of months, you're slinging it around, you know, I mean, you realize, you know, they're very flexible. You know, you kind of hand them around, hand them to different family members, and they're like, oh,
it's not going to blow up.
And you're like, give me the damn thing. You know,
yeah,
it's every human goes through that. And, it's just about trusting yourself and trusting the process, that you are not so unique that it's going to be only you that can't do it. You know, we all have those same feelings at the beginning of this, and you've really articulated them beautifully today. Wonderfully inspirational, Julianna. Keep up the great work. Come back and see me. Keep me posted on your journey on a follow-up episode on the show if you would. And
absolutely.
Keep up the fantastic work, my friend.
Thank you. Another quick thing I would just want to put out to everybody is just like, don't compare yourself to anybody else. Just that's it. Just don't do that. It gets hard to not do that, but don't do it. The only person you're in competition with is who you were yesterday.
Yeah, without a doubt. And even unfollowing your heroes is something that for you as an entrepreneur might be a choice you have to make, meaning people that even you initially looked up to and still do, but you find yourself comparing yourself to them. It may be time to unfollow them even for a period of time. We've had many people on the show who have said that. And I have done that in many forums over the years as well. Just kind of tune out the noise and start to trust myself more and more and tap into my own message, my own voice, my own creativity. Thank you for bringing that up. All right, my friend, keep up the fantastic work. Stay legendary. Congrats on your success and your sobriety. And we'll talk to you next time, okay?
Thanks. You too, Dave. Have a good day.
See ya. Bye-bye. All right, my friends, the digital powerhouse over on TikTok and Instagram is Julianna's handles, and you can find her, follow her, learn from her, support her. Hey, we need support too out there. Don't look at somebody like they're so successful they couldn't use a comment like message, and we appreciate all your positive comments and validation and appreciation in the comments, your participation today. It means the world to us. It makes the show better. I try to integrate your comments and questions into the show as much as possible when I'm not just ranting and raving or asking questions to our guests. So thank you so much. It makes the show that much more enjoyable for all of us. And as always, my friends, as always, it is that time to shine, that time to get out there and do something for yourself and your business. Take this inspiration and knowledge and apply it. If you're going through our challenge, finish it. If you're starting with our blueprints, dig in, put your seatbelt on. It's going to be a wild ride. But as Julianna said, all the challenges will be worth it, even if it doesn't feel like it right now. Stay at it. Don't quit. Don't quit on yourself, and prove to yourself what you're made out of. I think you might be surprised when you find out who you really are through this process. Be legendary. We'll see you back here tomorrow for another episode. Same place, same time. If you want a gentle reminder via text message at 10 a.m. Eastern time when we go live, text WUL to 813-296-8553. Again, a gentle, nice little nudge, nice little ding at 10 a.m. Eastern time or 7 a.m. Pacific, whenever and wherever you are. A nice little ding when we go live. No spam, no BS. We won't sell you information. Text WUL to 813-296-8553. That's it for me, my friends. We'll see you back here tomorrow for another episode. Get out of here. Peace.